Hi there, everyone. Welcome to Teach Me Tuesday. I'm really excited to talk to you about one of my favorite things today, which is creating a vision board. And I'm so appreciative to be partnering with Sparrow Living on this talk today. So thank you to Sparrow Living, and thank you for being willing to spend your time and energy with me today. So this session is going to be about creating a vision board. And we're going to talk about why you would even want to do this. Is it just some woo-woo out there, silly idea? Do they really work? What's the magic behind them? And listen, I know we're living in some really strange times. And it feels like, why even try to make plans right now, right? I get it. But this is actually a time when we really do need to dig deep to remember what motivates us, what inspires us, and what we want out of this experience called life, no matter where we're doing that and what that looks like. I know it might look a little differently than, of course, we would have planned before about 6 months ago. So I'm going to get moving on my presentation. Let me just tell you a little bit about who I am. So my name is Amanda McPherson. You could find me online at Life Coach Amanda. I have a website there, and on Facebook at Life Coach Amanda. So if you type that into your Google bar, you'll find a lot about me. And I have had my coaching business. I'm based in Austin, but I work with clients all over the country, even some international clients, because I have a couple of Canadian clients. And I help really people realize make their dreams, their visions come true by helping them stay motivated and accountable, or maybe even just helping them dig deep to figure out what it is that's really going to make them happy and get unstuck from anything that might be holding them back. So I'm really, really, really a lucky woman that I get to do what I love, which is really motivating and inspiring people to live out what they know deep inside they really want. But listen, I need help too along the way. So I love being able to be that help to someone else. I do have a master's degree in counseling, so I'm trained as a therapist, although I decided to go the coaching route because I wanted to be a bit more of a motivator, a coach in that way, dig less into the past, but talk more about the future and how we're going to move forward and create a life that you're really, really going to love. And so I do things like this. I do speaking, and I also do training. Actually just trained some hotel employees this morning. So kind of dabble in one-on-one sessions with people, group sessions, corporate training, and awesome events like this where I get to share what I do with others. So that's a little bit about me. And so I never thought, I would have never told you, 15 years ago that I was going to become the vision board lady. And now I pretty much am always, seems like the back of my car always has magazines, glue sticks, and foam board and supplies for vision board making, because it's really become one of my signature workshops that I do. I probably have done, oh my gosh, I don't know. Can't even count how many vision board workshops I've done in the last 5 years of my business. But let me tell you a little bit about why I believe in them. So it was about 15 years ago or so, or maybe even longer, that I was in a completely different career, and honestly in just a different place in my life. Outwardly looked really happy, looked like everything was fine, but I really wasn't that happy. And it had to do with a lot of different areas in my life. It had to do with career, had to do with personal relationships, and just a general sense of how I felt about myself. So anyway, a much different Amanda 15 years ago or so. And my best friend and I, we heard Oprah say that you should create a vision board. So, you know, you do what Oprah says because life seems to be going pretty well for Oprah, right? So we got in our living room and just, you know, grabbed some magazines and really didn't know what we were doing, but created our very first vision board. Again, I mean, it was probably more like, yeah, about 15, 16 years ago. And I am here to tell you, and it really like still gives me goosebumps, that the images on that vision board are what I'm living out today. At the time, I had no idea that I was going to go back to school, get my master's degree in counseling, end up being a coach, end up being a happier, healthier version of myself with the kind of friendships, with the kind of relationships that I wanted in my life, and certainly the kind of work that was really, really going to inspire me. So I put these images on there. It was sort of like I had this inner knowing, had no idea how I was going to get from point A to B, and we're going to talk about that. But I just knew that these images and these words that I was putting on the board spoke to me. And so if you look at it now, it literally has imagery that depicts me speaking to groups, me talking about my struggles in a way that helps other people, me having a close set of girlfriends, spending more time in nature. All those things are happening. So I became a believer, even though I'm not the most kind of woo-woo person out there. There is something I believe about going through the process of a vision board. So many times people have said, oh my gosh, you know, when they complete their board with me in a workshop, they've said, I didn't even know I wanted this. You know, I didn't even know this was on my heart and on my mind. So it's going to provide you some clarity about what really matters to you. Okay. And it's going to provide sort of a roadmap. You know, where do I go from here? I know a lot of us are feeling that, especially right now. This will help give you some clarity and a vision of where you want to be headed and how to get there. And so then it's a visual representation, right, of what's in your heart and your mind and what you dream of having. And that is going to be, if you do it right, you're going to put that where you see it every day. And it's going to be a daily source of inspiration and a daily reminder to you of why you're doing any of this, right? Why we're getting up in the morning, putting our pants on, and making things happen. And speaking of making things happen, you really do have to take action. Yes, the board has some magic to it, I think, but if you know, I'm not here to tell you, unfortunately, you don't just create the board and then magically it's all going to happen. We do have the responsibility, of course, of taking that inspiration, taking that clarity, and then taking action on it. I'm a big believer in taking action, and that is where I come in a lot of times as a coach and help people after they've created their boards, after they've really realized what's important to them, but maybe they're still struggling to get unstuck and create the new habits. I'm like a person's biggest cheerleader and accountability partner to make that happen. So what are you going to need, right? Well, I'll touch on a way you can do it virtually. You can do it on your computer or on your phone, but I got to be honest, I'm old school when it comes to creating a vision board. I have always done it sort of the old-fashioned way with actual, you know, paper, scissors, and magazines, etc. So these are some of the things this is what you'd want to gather before you make your board. Some kind of notebook or some paper, because I'm going to tell you about an exercise that can help get in there and help you really know what it is that really you do desire in your life. And you're going to want to write that out. And then you can use magazines. You can print images off of the computer. If you don't see what you want in the magazines, you can use catalogs. Some people like to use little mementos or postcards or greeting cards that they've gotten because there's something about those things that inspire them or help them feel focused on their goals. So there's all different ways, but you want a good supply of magazines or whatever you're using to come up with, so you have a lot of options. You'd be shocked how many magazines we go through at these workshops for people to find what it is that really they're looking for. And I know, again, strange times, so if you don't have them laying around and you feel comfortable, you know, places that you can go out and get them if you feel comfortable, Half Price Books sells them on the cheap. Doctor's offices, dentist offices, places like that often are looking to unload their magazines. So you can always ask. And then I always just sort of put out an email and ask my friends and family if they have magazines they're willing to contribute. You'll need some scissors, some kind of glue. I use glue stick. I just feel like that is the easiest thing to do, but you could also use just a regular glue. And then you want to use, I like to use foam board, and you probably can't tell. It has you know, some, I don't know what I'm trying to say, some thickness to it. Get that at craft store. You can also order that online, or you can just use cardboard. I just like the foam board, is a little sturdier. You know, I hang on to mine for a while. So that's what you're going to need. So a lot of times people come to my workshop, you know, they're just getting through life, right? They're just putting one foot in front of the other. They're busy. They got a lot going on, and they really couldn't walk in and just immediately write down and just spew out a list of all of their deepest goals and the desires of their heart. That's just not kind of usually what we're tapping into on a regular basis. So what I do is I lead my folks through an exercise, and you can do this on your own. And I ask what we call in the therapy and coaching community, the miracle question. And the miracle question is this: if you were to go home, or you're home tonight, and you go to bed, and you wake up tomorrow morning, and everything in your life looks just like you would like it to look. You know, everything is going the way you would like it to go. And I have down here some categories for you to explore: hobbies, work, your social life, your travel, your relationships, your spirituality, how you're feeding that. In all of these different aspects, if you woke up tomorrow morning and they were where you really desired them to be, so you knew and a miracle had occurred. Okay, it's a miracle, so don't go you know, downgrading your dreams and goals because I don't know how it could happen. This is a miracle, okay? A miracle has happened, and all these things have fallen into place the way you most desire. And I mean, that can be, I have fresh flowers in my home every day. That could be, I have the love of my life as in a partner. That could be, I live close to my children, or vice versa. All, you know, all these different aspects, and just write it out. Just write it out, and you might be amazed what you'll come up with. And I should say, as I'm talking, if you have questions, please put them in the comments on the Facebook, and they're going to let me know if we have any questions at the end. Okay, so that is your miracle question. You wake up tomorrow morning and a miracle has occurred. How are you going to know that? What are you going to see? What's going to be different in your life? What do you most desire? So once you have that, then it's really just about playing some music, grabbing a cup of tea or a glass of wine or whatever your poison is, and gathering images that resonate with you, or words. A lot of people's boards have tons of words and inspirational sayings. I'm kind of one of those that tends to keep cutting out words, but also they can be images that just speak to you. It doesn't have to be, I want a golden retriever, so therefore I put a golden retriever on my board. It can be, but it can also just be a field of flowers, or a picture of a woman or a man that you think, God, that just really depicts the way I would like to be showing up. There's something about that, her or him, that really speaks to me. And so just gather, you're not going to necessarily know why necessarily, but it's just going to speak to you and resonate with you. So grab it, cut it out, tear it out, and start creating a pile. So you'll see here, it's a little harder to see because I'm in this tiny box, right? But I've got like mountains because of travel. I have here meeting a mate, and I have This picture of a woman staring down a bull, just because I love the idea of staring down your fears, right? Soar higher is on here. Just things that inspired me. And I will take this moment to say, I made this vision board at the end of 2019. Yeah, end of 2019, I believe, or the very first of 2020. And even despite all of the pandemic and the quarantining and all of that, I have developed a love relationship that I have been wishing for and wanting for a lot of my life. And he lives in the mountains. Isn't that funny? I am eating healthier. That's one thing that's depicted here, because I'm cooking more, right? It's not how I planned it, but interesting. Food's coming out of my kitchen. So again, don't think that just because times are hard or a little different, that you can't still create a board and still get a lot of the things that you most desire in your life. Again, is it the magic of the board? Is it the action I took? It's a combination of the two. But a lot of people are making jokes about just throwing out their vision board, and I'm like, well, I don't know. Mine still has done some manifesting. So that, no excuses, right? To not dream big and put that intention out there. Okay, so you have your supplies, you've written out your goals, you've written out your miracle statement, and I should say, use that miracle statement, right? Use that answer to the what would life look like. Use that to guide you in your vision boarding. So don't go back to playing small of, oh, I don't know if that could never happen, or it's too late for me, or whatever you tell yourself. Don't do that, right? Use that inspiration and the things that came up for you in that miracle question when you're going through your images. And then most of the time, you're going to have a lot more images than you do room on your board. So I like to do my board. I don't do the full huge size cardboard. I just do kind of a smaller size. I think it's 16 by 20 maybe, because that's something I'll actually display. I have it kind of in my office area. So that's up to you. But so that helps me kind of cull down what I really want to be on my board. So you're going to look through your images and see which ones are going to make the cut and which ones are not going to make the cut. And then you're going to start gluing them to your board. And they can be, some people are super neat, right, about it. And they have like health over here and relationships here, home decor over here. That can be it, or it can just be all over the place. It can be whatever fits you. And some people even do like professional life board. Then they do a whole separate board for travel. And, so totally up to you. If you really get into it, you may end up doing several boards, not just one. So then we're getting toward the end, right? This is, I would say it's probably just to kind of give you an idea of the process of creating a board. Most people spend about, I don't know, maybe hour and a half with the process of cutting out the images, and it just depends. Maybe you can get a socially distanced group to do it, or you can even do it virtually with some family members or something, make a party out of it. I have done some vision board parties. They're a lot of fun. And then you're going to have your completed board, and you're going to see your dreams and your desires laid out in front of you. And I want you to make sure that this does not end up in the back of your closet, right? Or up in the attic or whatever. This really is intended to be somewhere where you're going to be able to see it or check in with it every day. So if you live alone, you might feel more empowered to do that than if you don't, but really try to check in with it every day. There are certain times in my life where I've got to put this like by the nightstand to remind me why I'm getting up early, why I'm going to keep working hard, and you know, building my business and creating my relationships, because I get it, especially right now, times can be tough. So really do yourself a favor, do your dreams and goals a favor by checking in with it after you've made it. Don't just, you know, put it in the closet. But even then, I think it still has some value, even if you don't look at it every day. The practice of you going through it is really going to give you that clarity and that inspiration that you want. So here we go. We have this beautiful board. That's amazing. And you've taken the time and the intention to create it, which is awesome. But yeah, unfortunately, just gluing the pictures to the board is not enough. I want you to, then I'm going to kind of give you some tools on how you can take that vision forward. And again, this is a lot of what I find that I kind of am helping people do, is putting the thoughts, the ideas, the plans into action. I get it. We all just kind of get into routines, and we into default mode, and maybe we, you know, haven't, you know, we need to create some new habits or have some new accountability built in. So this is what I would do if I were working with you. When I do my vision board workshops, a lot of times I'll do like a follow-up workshop the next month. And what I do with that is I have everyone bring their board, and you sort of take it from this, what can be a little abstract or a little fuzzy, a little warm fuzzy. Take this board and then create a list of tangible goals that are reflected in that vision, right? So let's say I'm going to use, you know, I'll be vulnerable here. Let's say we're going to use romantic relationship. That was something I wanted. Well, what am I going to do? I mean, that's, you know, some that you can do stuff about, and some of it's just magic and luck, right? But, well, you know, how am I going to put myself out there? How am I going to work on myself to become the kind of partner I want to be? So under the goal of, you know, having a healthy, happy romantic relationship, I would list baby steps. You know, am I gonna create an online profile? Am I gonna join a new group to see if I could meet some people? Am I gonna ask my friends who they might know? What kind of personal development work am I gonna do? So under those goals, you're gonna have a little baby step action items for each goal. Okay, break it down. You eat the elephant one bite at a time, right? So break it down into goals. You know, if it's travel to see family more often, okay? How's that gonna happen? Is that gonna require some planning? Is that gonna require some conversation? Is that gonna require some savings? Is that, you know, what is that? Some coordination of schedules? You know, just break it down so that you're not confused and you don't know what your next step is. And then assign a deadline for each step. Super, super important, right? Assign a due date, assign a time that you're going to get that done. So when I'm working with people, you know, we're checking in often so I can sort of hold their feet to the fire on that. If you're doing it on your own, maybe you put it on your calendar, you put it somewhere where you're going to check in with it and literally check those off your list, because you do have to do your part, right? You do need to put action into your vision to make it a reality. All right, so again, if you have any questions and you haven't already sent them, you can do that in the comments. I'm gonna look here to see if there are any questions. Okay, looks like there were none submitted. So great, that just means I covered everything. But you know, again, it's not just a fun activity. I think it's going to be a lot more meaningful if you do go through the process. And then you might have some questions for me. So let me talk about that and how you might get in touch with me if you felt like, hey, this has been awesome. It's made me think that maybe I'm not living this miracle life that I desire. And how, Amanda, how do you get from A to B? Then I'd love to talk to you. You can find out more about me at lifecoachamanda.com. Or you can shoot me an email, take a picture of this screen or something. And I think Sparrow Living is going to also share my information on the social media links. But you can take a picture of this or whatever if you want to make sure you have that information saved. But again, I do one-on-one coaching. Right now, I am in the middle of a 6-week group. I guess we're on week 3, going into week 4 of a 6-week accountability group that I created. And it's called Worth the Fight. And the idea is that we are worth the fight, right? Our goals are worth the fight. Our dreams are worth the fight. And it's been a really great group that has come together. We meet this way on a weekly basis to check in, talk about goals, talk about how we're feeling, stay motivated, give each other support. And it's been such a success. I could see me doing it again. So if that is something that sounds appealing to you, let me know, just so I know if I should offer it again. And if you're on social media, you can find me at Life Coach Amanda. I also, for the women that are watching, I have sort of a fun, it used to be a blog, but I now, it hasn't been in existence for a couple years, but it's called Girl, Get Your Roots Done. And the idea behind that, of course, is yes, I'm somebody who pays to get this sun-kissed hair, but it's really about staying grounded and staying rooted and paying attention to what's going to feed us and really sustain us and keep us. Because what I've learned both personally and professionally is if we don't have healthy roots, right? If we're not being fed at the root, then good luck getting that healthy relationship, that job, that dream life, because we're really feeding it from our unhealthy roots. And I'm also on Instagram at that handle. So I hope that this has been helpful. As somebody who is living out my vision board dream, it's really, really fun to talk about it, and it means a lot to me. And so I appreciate all of you that joined today. I appreciate Sparrow Living. What a neat thing that they thought of during these times to infuse positivity and learning and growth. I was right there with everybody, like when this first happened, like, let's just eat ice cream and watch Netflix. But then, after about a month of that, you realize, okay, this is precious. This is precious time. These are precious days and weeks. And so this is our life. And it's not a time to stop, to quit making plans. If anything, it's a time to see maybe where we're being asked to up level, where we're being asked to maybe trim some things out that really we were doing and we didn't really want to do, and maybe invest more in the things that really do matter to us. But if you're just having a really hard time with it, that's okay too. And I help people with that as well. So the vision board might be a great first step for you to, if you are in a funk or you're feeling a little directionless, for you to find some hope, find some inspiration. So with that, if we have no questions, I'll sign off. I'll say thank you. And please let me know if I can ever be of help to you in any way. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.